What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including did CM Punk lunge at Tony Khan, John Cena returning for Payback, the original plans for Bray Wyatt after his 2022 return, WWE believes Edge is headed to AEW, why Gunther vs Gable is off the Payback pay-per-view, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Now, first story looks at the CM Punk media circus. There's no end in sight to the drama following All In's alleged dust-up between CM Punk and Jack Perry. Let's examine the latest, including a report from Punk lunging at AEW president Tony Khan, whether Punk is expected for the show, and whether an AEW wrestler was injured during the altercation. Our first story looks at CM Punk lunging at Tony Khan. And was AEW president Tony Khan caught in the crossfire of the CM Punk Jack Perry incident? We already noted a rumor that one or more monitors fell on Tony during the fracas. Early on, we commented that more details would likely come out as the time progressed, and while it's still too early to know exactly what happened, Meltzer provided additional info on the latest observer. That person said that once they were separated, Punk lunged in Khan's direction, but a number of people got in his way while Punk was yelling, "I quit." Monitors were knocked down during all this. Joe was very upset and went to calm Punk down. There's apparently more to Punk's interaction with Khan, as Dave Meltzer informed readers of a report that security took Punk into his dressing room. Punk was then screaming at Khan and swearing at him. If this story about Punk lunging at Khan is accurate, it's difficult to imagine a promoter or a boss in any workplace tolerating such behavior. The good news is that multiple sources are reporting there were camera angles everywhere in the arena and that the incident was likely caught on tape. We'd love to see that video. Next up, will Punk compete at All Out? By now you've probably heard that Punk and Perry have been suspended, but what does that mean for AEW's All Out pay-per-view, which just happens to be in Punk's hometown of Chicago? As reported earlier, there was belief that Punk was going to defend his Real World's Championship against Ricky Starks, but so far the match hasn't been announced. During an All Out press conference, Tony Khan was asked about whether Punk would compete, responding that an investigation is still pending and he can't answer any questions about the incident. According to WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston, Khan hopes to have an answer before All Out. Next up was an AEW wrestler injured during the All In altercation. Now apparently there was collateral damage, as at least one report indicates that House of Black member Brody King punched a wall and suffered a broken hand. A report from Dave Meltzer notes Brody King, who is tight with Punk, ended up being mad, and one version of the story told by many is that he punched a wall and may have broken his hand, although he claims differently. King did end up breaking his hand, but he said it was during his match. King later claimed he never punched a wall, but did say he kicked a garbage can, then broke his hand during the match on the guardrail. Whatever happened, King is dealing with a broken hand, and if it was from punching a wall, it suggests how tense the backstage situation in AEW was. Next up, did something good emerge from the All In altercation? Now, although All In's backstage fracas seems to have overshadowed the success of the stadium show, Dave Meltzer is reporting in this week's Observer that something beneficial came from it. Another person said that many of the wrestlers think both Perry and Punk were at fault, and when the talent found out, they got more motivated to put on great matches. In addition, it's believed a veteran stepped up, emerging as clear locker room leader. It kind of brought everyone together, and Samoa Joe was a real leader, was one comment made. The belief is that Joe convinced Punk to have their match, and the show then went in the order it was originally scheduled to go. If anything good does emerge from the incident, it'll be interesting to see whether AEW can salvage the momentum it had going into All In. Next up is John Cena returning at Payback. Now, rumor has it that fans could see a special guest on WWE's 2nd September PLE, as WrestleVotes is reporting, hearing rumblings that Payback will have a special guest host this Saturday night, and his name is John Cena. Cena is already scheduled to make several appearances this month on SmackDown because the current Screen Actors Guild strike has opened up his schedule. The 16-time world champion is also booked to wrestle at WWE's upcoming Super Show in India. If Cena does host Payback, could it lead to the WWE setting things up for another match involving him, besides the one already booked in India? Both sides in the strike are said to be deadlocked, which means Cena fans could see much more of him until the strike ends. Indeed, PW Insider is reporting, within WWE there's been talk of John Cena appearing at both Payback this weekend and Fastlane in October. Cena's appearances have only increased ticket sales for WWE events. They've enjoyed healthy box office numbers of late, and the appearance of a legend like John Cena will likely drive up ticket prices from the secondary market, aka scalpers. If Cena does return for any additional matches, it could be a dream match. WRKD Wrestling is reporting Cena vs Cody Rhodes has been discussed as a possibility during Cena's return stint. You may recall Cody asked Cena to work a match with him, should his schedule allow it, and right now this looks to be a real possibility. Next up, WWE's original plans for Bray Wyatt after his 2022 return. Now, what exactly did WWE have planned for Bray Wyatt after his return at Extreme Rules? According to Dave Meltzer, the WWE had planned out a series for Bray prior to the illness that took him off TV, and sadly, this led to his untimely passing. Taylor Rotunda had returned to WWE as Uncle Howdy. At first, the idea was for Wyatt to build up to a match with Howdy at WrestleMania, but the plans ended up changing and Howdy was not being pushed at the level and the character dropped. Meltzer also discussed how Alexa Bliss was being set up for a program with Bray. Alexa Bliss, who was associated with Wyatt years earlier in doing a female monster gimmick, was about to go back to the gimmick when he became ill. She later got pregnant, so plans never developed. These plans were obvious from the segments that WWE used when Uncle Howdy was introduced, with the enigmatic character apparently portraying an adversary. Likewise, Alexa Bliss seemed to be overrun with Bray's influence as seen by various vignettes and Bliss going berserk against Bianca Belair. Next up, a big rumor as WWE believes Edge is headed to AEW. Edge heads everywhere are asking what's next for the Rated R superstar following a 25-year anniversary celebration that some fans saw as de facto retirement ceremony. Edge's recent match against Sheamus on SmackDown will reportedly be Edge's last match ever in Toronto, but is it the last match of his career? While Edge has stated he's fulfilled his contractual obligations for wrestling in WWE, it's unknown whether he plans on staying in the company when his current contract expires, which is believed to be in September. Now, Dave Meltzer is reporting those in WWE have noted that they expect Edge to go to AEW. Edge denied that and said that he had a contract offer from WWE but had not decided what to do next. He said that he considers the show in Toronto a perfect farewell and does need to have a farewell at WrestleMania next year. There have been different rumors surrounding contract negotiations between Edge and WWE, with one report stating Edge's asking price was too high for WWE, while another stated that Edge had no desire to stay in the company. Whether or not these are just negotiation tactics is unclear. Nonetheless, Edge will do what he do, as a few years ago, while not reported at the time, those in AEW were of the belief Edge was coming in, and obviously he then signed a 3-year deal at $3 million per year for limited dates with WWE, which was more than AEW offered. AEW may want to back up the Brinks truck for Edge, especially if it decides CM Punk isn't worth the aggravation. While Edge likely won't work as often as Punk does, his presence might help Punk fans disappointed by his exit, assuming of course he and AEW part ways. Next up is Bryan Danielson expected back earlier. Could Bryan Danielson be back in the ring earlier than expected? Danielson, who is still recovering from a broken arm, may be able to work AEW's upcoming Wrestle Dream pay-per-view. Meltzer's reporting it'll probably need a photo finish, but Bryan Danielson was told he could return in October, and being in Seattle, that would be the place if everything goes well and he can cross the finish line by those dates. AEW may want to be cautious with Danielson's return, as this isn't the first time he's been sidelined due to an injury. While he is a top star, AEW should make sure he's 100% so he doesn't suffer another setback. And finally, why is Gunther vs Gable off Payback? Triple H is addressing questions about why Intercontinental Champion Gunther won't be defending the title against Chad Gable at Payback. Although Gable earned another title shot, the match will take place on Raw. According to wrestling purists, I reached out to WWE for comment on why Chad Gable vs Gunther wasn't on Payback. The general word I got back was that the Payback PLE had enough, the show was sold out, and they wanted a big match that they could use for television that would help the ratings. If this is the case, I think WWE should give Gunther and Gable the last half hour of WWE Raw next week. Now, although we question Triple H's apparent policy of restricting number of PLE matches due to time constraints, there is something to be said for wanting to boost Raw's ratings, particularly with Monday Night Football fast approaching. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.